Workhouse Players present A Pigeon Called Hat by Max Jones. Episode 4. On the Friday, we didn't go to the cafe as I was taking the train home. When I woke up in my comfortable, warm, dry bed, with my Tintin book and the cup of tea next to me, I realised I did not want to leave. I thought about sharing a room again with my brother, how the house was run to suit my Grandad's whims, and the controlled antagonism that was an underlying part of every conversation. I thought of my dad always coming in from work wanting some peace, or heading out to work, or heading down the garden to get away from everyone. I compared him to Bryn, who actually seemed to look forward to coming home. How he'd sit and listen to my nonsense. How often he laughed, and how often he touched Aunty Vi, making contact with her, kissing her before he did anything else when he got home. Here, in Wales, I felt special. At home, I was just an irritation. I thought Mum and Dad probably loved me, but I was also pretty certain they didn't like me very much.
Come on then, Philip. I need to get you to the station. Are you all packed?
Yes, Aunty Vi.
Are you not taking your book with you?
Can I leave it here, Aunty Vi? I'd like it to be my Welsh book, if you know what I mean. If I can come back next year, then it'll be something of mine that's here.
I think that's a nice idea, Philip. Me and your uncle were hoping you would want to come back. Your Uncle Bryn hasn't laughed that much for years. He told me to say goodbye to you, and he's really sorry he couldn't be here to say goodbye himself.
We walked to the station and we hugged as the train pulled in. Aunty Vi was crying.
Goodbye, great nephew. I am going to miss you very much.
I'll miss you too, Aunty Vi.
The train journey home was a long one, and even though I'd always been able to cry at the drop of a hat, normally to deflect a telling off, real tears flowed down my face. I would stop, and then a memory of Vi and her smiles and her encouragement would come into my mind, and I would start all over again. On the last leg of the journey to Lincoln, a woman noticed me hunched up in the corner, crying quietly, and came and sat down opposite me.
Are you all right, little man?
I nodded through my tears, sniffing.
You're travelling alone?
I nodded miserably.
What's upset you? Do you want to tell me?
Bingo! I sat in silence and sniffed a bit, wiping away a tear. Best not to appear too eager to begin.
Well, my mummy said that she didn't like me anymore.
Oh,
So she sent me to live with my auntie in Wales.
Now the odd thing is that I was actually really upset to leave Aunty Vi. Heartbroken, in fact. But the chance to create a story, well, I forgot about my upset and my desire to spin a yarn.
I've been there for 2 years. Now my auntie has married a new man,
Sorry, Bryn.
and he doesn't like me.
oh.
So I have to go home. My mummy said that she has no room for me, as my brother needs to have a room to himself because he's older and more important. I'm really scared.
More tears on cue. Silence from the woman. Damn, I'd overdone it.
Oh, that's terrible. Oh, I see why you're so sad. You poor little boy. Look, maybe I can cheer you up. Would you like a cake from the buffet?
I nodded and wiped a tear away.
Well, let's you and me go and find you a nice cake, and you can tell me all about it.
Which I did for the next 2 hours. When the train arrived in Lincoln, it was pitch dark and the woman was still with me and still feeding me cakes.
This is my stop too. Will your Mummy be waiting for you to take you home?
Now, whilst I was toying with the idea of saying I was expected to walk back home, 12 miles, the confabulation with this stranger had run its course, so I just said,
Yes.
That's good then. I think I should have a little chat with her.
What? No!
No, please don't. My mummy gets angry and, she hits me.
That's what I want to talk to her about.
Oh, God, what have I done?
It's okay. If she doesn't know I've told anyone, she will be nice to me.
Oh, don't you worry. She won't be angry with you.
As we got off the train and stepped onto the platform, I saw Mum. She smiled at me, started to walk forwards with her arms open.
Is that your mummy?
Could I say no?
Yes.
I could have said it was just a friend they'd sent to pick me up. I must learn to think faster.
Right. Well, you wait here while I just have a quick chat with her.
The woman stopped in front of my mother. I heard her ask if she could have a quick word, and the two of them walked away down the platform before turning and standing still to talk. They spoke for a few minutes before I heard my mum shout,
How dare you!
and then come marching up to me, grabbing me by the elbow and marching me out of the station. My feet paddled along half in mid-air. The woman followed behind, saying,
Stop, you'll hurt his little arm.
That's right. And his little arse when I get him home.
Oh, you're a dreadful mother.
My mother stopped dead and froze. I was launched into the air by her forward momentum before being yanked back, off balance, to stand next to her. Then she paused, straightened her back, took a deep breath, and marched on. In the car park, as we reached the car, my mother pulled me round and crouched down in front of me.
What have you been up to, Philip?
Nothing, Mummy.
Stop calling me Mummy. You can't con me. I'm your mother, not some poor gullible woman on a train. Now, what are you up to? Why did that woman think I'd sent you away to Wales for 2 years? So that would have made you 6. Because I didn't like you?
I don't know. Maybe she...
It's because that's what you told her, wasn't it? Oh, Philip, it's like there's something wrong with you. Your stories, well, they hurt people sometimes. They hurt me, my feelings. Do you understand?
I nodded, hoping that it would help speed the end of this uncomfortable exposure.
How long have you been back, Philip?
About 5 minutes, Mummy.
And how many arguments have you caused in that 5 minutes, Philip?
1, Mummy.
Don't make it 2. And stop with the mummy. Look, your grandfather, whilst you've been away, well, I'm finding him harder to cope with. I need you to be helpful. Your brother and father are useless.
Okay, Mummy.
Philip, for the last time, stop calling me bloody mummy. I'm immune.
When we got home, it was like I hadn't been away. Literally. Nobody said welcome home. My brother said that nobody'd missed me, and then he told me to check under my bed, where he'd put all of the clothes he'd taken out of my case. He smirked and said the pants I'd been wearing all week must be 90% poo by now. I told him Aunty Vi had bought me new, so then he scowled and ignored me. My father smiled absent-mindedly at me without speaking, as if I was someone he felt he should know but wasn't sure from where. He then went to stake his needy peas in the pitch dark. Grandad said, "Who are you?" then laughed. I went upstairs. On my bed in the room I shared with my brother were 3 balloons on the pillow, a sash across the coverlet saying, "Welcome home, we've missed you," and a package. I opened it. A copy of Red Rackham's Treasure, with a note from Mum saying she'd missed me lots and welcome home with her love. I felt about as guilty as it is possible for an 8-year-old self-obsessed confabulator to feel. When I went downstairs later, I had made a pact with myself that I would be better. No more stories. I went to thank Mum for the book and the balloons and to say I was really sorry, but for some reason the house was empty, apart from Grandad sitting in the back lounge reading the paper. My brother had gone out with his spindly girlfriend, which I knew because everywhere stank of Brute 33. I didn't like her. She kept wanting to walk me around and interfered in my games, most often when I just created the perfect set for the Daleks to invade. She thought she had better ideas for how the Daleks would behave and would take over my story to show me. She was useless and didn't even know which coloured Dalek was a commander. She was mostly doing it, I thought, to show my idiot brother what a great mother she would be. This made me stubborn. She'd ruffle my hair and say I was angry britches and laugh. I got sent to bed when I bit her. Much later, my brother woke me as he crashed into the bedroom and turned the light on to get ready for bed. He knelt down next to me and whispered into my ear that if I started to wet the bed that night, he would come and put a rubber band on it. Aunty Vi had taken to phoning Mum once a week. I would speak to her a bit, and she would say that Bryn and Janice and Blodwyn sent their regards, and all hoped that the farmer had been prosecuted by now. She said that last with a laugh. One day in early December, Mum said,
"Your Aunty Vi has asked if you would like to spend a few days up there before Christmas, Philip. Would you like to go?
Yes.
Are you sure?"
Yes.
This then became a routine which I followed every year from then on. I would spend a week in Wales in early December, then come home for Christmas. My summer stay with Aunty Vi was extended to 2 weeks. In Wales, I would get off the train at the little station and run down the street to Aunty Vi's house, crashing through the front door to give her a hug. I always liked a routine, and so it became that we would sit over tea and cakes in the kitchen and catch up with what we'd both been up to. Aunty Vi would tell me about Janice and Blodwyn and Margaret, and I would tell her about the family, and particularly Grandad. He was getting more difficult and forgetful, I'd noticed, and it was causing a lot of strain, mostly on Mum. Aunty Vi would listen and nod and sometimes share her memories of him, saying that
He always was an awkward old bugger.
the years rolled on and I grew up. I had 2 families, one in England and one in Wales, and I liked that. I realised that I had developed a different version of myself for each, and this seemed to work. I didn't compare one with the other anymore, and was just accepting each for what they were. I had curbed my storytelling since the first return home, when I'd caused so much trouble. I started writing things down instead, and created stories about the people around me. I would write down the things I wanted to happen, and these always put me in a starring role and gave my brother a nasty end, usually down to his own folly in crossing me. In my early 20s, I was writing regularly whilst trying to figure out what I wanted to do for my career. On my summer 1985 visit to Wales, Aunty Vi came into my room on the morning I was due to leave and said,
Philip, I have something for you.
Aunty Vi produced the photo album we'd looked at on our very first night.
Now, I want you to show these to your Grandad. I want you to have a proper talk with him and ask him about the pictures. Will you promise to do that?
Yes, Aunty Vi.
I know he's a rotten old bugger, but I think he's struggling and he's just forgotten who he was. How much fun he used to be.
Why?
Well, the way he's behaving, he needs an anchor, and maybe these memories will help. You never believe me, but I always did see so much of him in you. You could be friends if you try a bit. Don't be too quick to judge him. When he's been an old idiot, try a bit of humour on him instead of arguing. Okay?
Okay, Aunty Vi.
Promise?
I promise.
When I got home, I took the photo album into the lounge where Grandad was in his usual chair and sat on the sofa just in his eyeline, slowly turning the pages. We sat in silence for a while, and then Grandad said,
"What's that you're messing about with?"
He could never ask a straight question. It was always, "What on earth made you?" or "Why can't you ever?" I felt my stubbornness grow. But then I remembered my promise to Aunty Vi.
It's an album Aunty Vi gave me, Grandad. It's got pictures of you in it.
Bring it over. Let me see it before you wreck it.
Deep breath.
Can you come and sit here? Then you can tell me about each picture. I'd like to know. Please?
Grandad looked suspiciously at me for a while, but then his inquisitiveness got the better of him, and he put down the paper and came and sat next to me. His movements were slow and stiff now, as if walking were painful to him. I handed him the album. He looked at the pictures for a moment in silence.
You can tell that's Aunty Vi. And is that Bryn stood next to her?
Yeah, that's right. God, we were only about 20 when that was taken. I'm behind the camera. I've not seen that for nearly 50 years. Look, can you see? That's the entrance to the slate mine. Bryn was due to start there on the Monday. God, all those years. How fast they go by.
He turned the page.
Look, there's your grandma and me. We just got engaged. There's Vi and Bryn again. I think she just got her scholarship. And we had a party to celebrate.
Scholarship?
Yes, your Aunty Vi is a very clever woman. She wanted to be a chemist.
She never told me that. Did she want to work at Boots?
No, she wanted to be an industrial chemist. She started her studies, but then, well, your great-grandmother got sick. And then she came home to care for her. That's how it was then in Wales. No social services to speak of. She lost her place at university, and that was that.
Did she marry Uncle Bryn then?
She was already married when she left. Bryn wanted her to make a career outside of Wales because he saw how little opportunity there was for a woman as clever as your aunt. Most men wanted their wives at home where they could see them, keep tabs on them. But Bryn wanted her to achieve her ambition. The only time I can ever remember them having a serious row was when he found out she was coming back to look after our mother. He tried everything to get that old woman into her home and keep Vi studying. But she said it was Vi's job to take care of her. Selfish woman, our mother.
I thought she was able to magic food out of nothing.
That was just a story to annoy your mother. I think she just didn't want Vi making a success of her life. Nasty, bitter old bag that she was. I don't think she was ill at all. She lived for another 12 years anyway. She was just terrified of Vi showing up how small her life had been. But Vi just said, that's how things are. So we just need to make the best of it. Bryn did any shifts he could to be with that old woman, so Vi could still study. Good man, your Uncle Bryn.
He's a giant.
A gentle giant. Well, unless you upset Vi, then he's a very different character.
Had you left Wales by then?
Yes. Me and your grandmother were living in Slough then. She got a job in service at a big house, and I started with my own butcher's shop.
And you never went back?
No, never went back. Not set foot in Wales since 1958.
Grandad and I chatted away like we'd never done before. I got absorbed in the lives that they led back then, as he talked about winters in the valleys so cold that birds would be frozen to death as they flew, dropping out of the sky, and the wind would hammer up the valleys so hard it would knock people off their feet. But he also talked about long summer afternoons when he, Vi, Bryn, and Grandma Maggie would take a picnic up to the top of the hills and spend all day in the sunshine, surrounded by wildflowers and waterfalls, planning for the future. Then he turned the last page and stopped talking. There was a black and white picture of a small, very pretty, confident-looking woman, smiling directly into the camera. She was alone, and behind her I recognised the hills and the big waterfall I'd gasped at on my first visit to Wales.
Who is that, Grandad?
Silence.
Grandad?
That's Molly. Anyway, Philip, I hope you said thank you to your Aunty Vi for letting you have some of this precious.
He clearly changed the subject deliberately and gone back to speaking to me as if I were a small boy. I didn't push it. I went to leave. He looked deep in thought.
Just leave it, will you?
He indicated the photo album.
I'd like to take another look at that later. Do you remember the first time you went to Wales to see your Aunty Vi?
Yes, Grandad.
Well, your mum really missed you. Aunty Vi was on the phone nearly every night, talking about what you'd got up to that day. I reckon your mum felt that she should have been doing some of those things with you. She talked a lot about not taking time with you and not noticing how you were growing up. I think she tried to talk to your dad about it, but as always, my son was useless. Tried to make her feel better by saying you were a difficult kid who was never happy. Last thing she wanted to hear. Things like this. Remembering. It makes you think.
I remembered getting into a row with a stranger at the station the first time I'd got home, thinking she didn't really care about me, when in reality she'd hunted high and low for the book I wanted, and how my brother had made me blame her for not packing my case. Guilt hit me again. She'd been smiling at me with her arms open to hug me, and then... Ugh! I shut the thought down. As I leant over to put the album on the table next to him, he suddenly caught my arm. I felt instantly uncomfortable. We were not a family of touchers.
You should grab your dreams while you still can, Philip. Don't be put off by fear of what might happen or who will be upset. Sometimes you just have to think of you. Don't turn out to be like your dad, trying to please people by just going along with everything. That way just means that you'll just let everyone down. Anyway, I'll look through this a little more if you don't mind.
Aunty Vi told me to look after it, Grandad.
I won't damage it, Philip. I promise.
Towards the end of summer '85, I found myself at a bit of a crossroads. The promised career where I would present a news magazine programme and people would remark on my brilliant interviews had not materialised. I was at home and on the dole. I had started writing jokes for comedy shows and sending them in. All were rejected with dependable regularity, until I started writing closely for different comedians and the way they constructed their stories. I started writing jokes specifically for a particular person. Suddenly, more and more work was accepted, and I once saw my name listed in end credits under additional material. I moved on, buoyed by this success, and created a 10-minute sketch for Friday Night Live on LWT, which was rejected. As that summer turned to autumn, I noticed that Grandad was communicating less and less and seemed interested only in his past life in Wales. He became easier to deal with and, over time, generally nicer. But he was always at his best when he talked about Wales.
You know, I used to tell stories at the pub on a Saturday night.
Did you? What, in Wales?
Yes. The Spit and Sawdust place at the top of the street that your Aunty Vi still lives on. It's gone all posh now. They do boil in a bag, duck and orange, but back then it was a bit of a dive. My God, I could spin a yarn. It was the only time I used my brain. See, I was an apprentice to a local butcher, And okay, I was happy to have the work there, but there wasn't much to keep your brain active once you'd learnt the basics. Miss Jones just wanted a scrag end trim so it looked nice was about the limit. So, my mind was just free. I'd have an idea in the daytime, and it would just grow and grow. Then I'd go down to the pub, wait for my moment. Usually after I had a couple, then I'd start. Well, eventually, it got to be a regular thing. Bryn and your Aunty Vi used to come along every Saturday and cheer me on.
Grandad, that's what I do.
I know.
You have been listening to A Pigeon Called Hat by Max Jones, featuring Anthony Weaver as Philip, aged 8, 15 and 20, Uncle Bryn, and Philip's dad. Mand Austin played Aunty Vi, Sam Daniel played Grandad, Margaret Forster played Mum, Julie Holmes played Blodwyn, Sheila Jennings played Janice and the woman on the train, Jelly Rose played Margaret, and Max Jones was the narrator. It was directed by Sheila Jennings and recorded at the Old Nick Theatre in Gainsborough. It was recorded and edited by Gordon Craig. This has been a Workhouse Players production.